I remember the first day that I saw Star Wars A New Hope. My brother and I were sitting together on this blue couch that we had with white stars. My dad came home and he says, "Guys, I want to show you a movie that I liked as a kid." And we were like, "Okay, that sounds great. Yeah, sure." Then he puts in the VHS for Star Wars A New Hope, and we sat there in wonder. For 2 hours and 5 minutes, we were glued to the screen. And we watched Luke and the rebellion defy the odds and defeat the evil empire. And I was starstruck. I could not believe what I was watching. I was speechless. I got to the end and we just stood there. We're like, wow. That was simultaneously the craziest and most amazing thing I'd ever seen. And then my dad leans over and says, "Well, do you want to see the next one?" And we said, "What? There's more?" He's like, "Yeah, there's 2 more movies." And our eyes lit up and we couldn't say yes fast enough. So we put in Empire Strikes Back. We watched that one. Then we watched Return of the Jedi. And I remember distinctly when it was over, I stood up, went straight to the broom closet, took a mop out, unscrewed the mop head, and had my first lightsaber. 20 years later, I still have that same feeling of wonder and excitement every time I watch that original trilogy. But my emotions, I think, have evolved a little bit. I have this wonderful nostalgia that I get every time that the opening crawl comes down with John Williams' score. I remember all the times that I was asked what I wanted to watch, and I refused to watch anything but Star Wars. And the more and more I watch these films, the more and more I appreciate how great these films were. I mean, minus the extra CGI that George Lucas added later. This is such a unique story with relatable characters. And these characters live in this amazing, wondrous galaxy with space travel and aliens and laser guns and, of course, lightsabers. Who doesn't like lightsabers? My brother would grab his mop handle too, and we'd beat the crap out of each other, pretending to be Jedi. And also that music. It was so fitting for such an adventurous story that we had. I can never stop listening to that Star Wars theme once it's on, and it gets stuck in your head, and it's great. And then there's the lore. There's an extended universe outside the movies that people have written down in things like books and comic books and TV shows. And I've become so enthralled with this Star Wars story that it's really inspired me to read. Now, I have minor's dyslexia, and it makes it harder for me to read. Now, I'm proficient at it, and I have to use it often for my job. I would rather do anything else but read, really. But that being said, this story inspired me to read all of these in-canon novels. And so because of that, I've read over 20 of these books for pleasure. And it's, really helped me get into other fantasy or action book series as well. So I don't think that I will ever be able to recreate the joy and amazement that I had from the first time I watched Star Wars. But every time I watch these movies again, or watch these new movies that are coming out, or read some of the extended universe novels, or see even the regrettable prequels, every time I see that, I'm reminded of the sheer joy and amazement that was first sparked in 8-year-old me.